So hello everyone, welcome back to our next program on our list. I hope everyone had a great lunch, and if anyone is sleepy or hungry again during the presentation, feel free to go outside, grab a coffee, and then come in to join us with the presentation again. So up next, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Bruno Kanabunube, who will be presenting to us on how to be a successful lifelong researcher with international recognition. So please give him a round of applause. And welcome.
Okay, thank you, the moderator. And welcome back to the afternoon class. It's not going to be very serious for this class because you are full with your lunch and you will get sleepy. So I think this year is a bit unusual than the previous publication clinic because in the past I will give a talk on how to write the abstract because each publication clinic, at least, is one of you will submit abstract to the organizer, right? But this year, we want me to tell you something like, let you set up your goal in the future, that what you want to be. And for each topic that give to me, can be like, how can I be a researcher? How can I be recognized by people in the field? How can I be recognized and be employed by the company to work with them? Something like that. So, and I think you know that when you work for in your academic field, what do you like to have? Everybody wants to have a paper, right? But before you have a paper, you're supposed to have the proposal, to have money for that. And I think you part by writing up the proposal. Right now, you want to have a paper. And when you have a paper, what's supposed to be important for that? You need to get it published, right? So it's a milestone of, being a researcher. Most of the researchers, some of them want to be a professor. You can set up your goal as a professor somewhere, maybe here at Melbourne, and some can become the dean. Like Ajaran Sanitha, she's a dean and she's a researcher as well. And some can go to work for university or maybe to the ministry. So it's a career path that you want to. But Ajaran can set up something like professor and how can you be recognized by people not only in the country but maybe or maybe in the world also. So it's gonna be the step by step. But if you look on here, like and then you need to have the money, right? If you have no money, how can you do your research work? So for this half an hour talk, maybe a sum up of what I'm doing and will, get some feedback for you also on what you like to be in the future. And it's my career path. If you want to know, you can ask Andy, he's my student. And the important thing, you need to have your own network. What do I mean by networking? I don't have to work for my own discipline, but I have other friends. Like Ajaran Sanitha, she worked for immunology. Ajaran Rangwon, he worked for the public health, but most of his major will be bioinformatics. And even some other different departments, different institutions. So when you set up the networking, it will make you strong. If you work only for yourself, you will have one paper, right? If you work with many people, you can be co-author, or you can be the correspondent or whatsoever. So you will create more and more work after that. And this is my another group for the senior scholar. Then I start to create another network by working with different species, not only for pig. So the point for that, you need to set up your network. Don't work for yourself. Because sometimes you don't know, you don't have to be the one who knows everything. You know all your own discipline, but you need to ask some help from others. And there are so many papers, right? How to write a proposal, how to do, something, how to write a paper. a lot of it online, and Dr. Sena mentioned to you that you can use ChatGPT or other AI to help your English, much more nicer before submitting. And every single one of you will face with the word rejection. So it's fine, get you some immunity on that. The more you get rejected, the more experience you will have. Because each time of rejection, what do you have from that? You have some comment. And whenever you got comment, you can use that to make your own manuscript better and better. So if you start to, fight for yourself, fight for your paper, sooner or later you get published. And some of my students, they get rejection, maybe Q1 or Q2, but after all, they get by Q1. So it depends on what you set your goal and what you want to move up on for that. So what can I use on this? So it happens all the time for the first submitter or the new or young researcher. Before you submit your manuscript, what is so important? You need to make sure that the manuscript is, in a good format. No typing error or whatsoever. And this one, I check on this manuscript. But when you check on the manuscript, what you get is that most of the time, the editor will send the result, to the one who review. This is not from mine, but from the other reviewer. You can see and read, in the rectangular one. The reviewer stopped reviewing this manuscript at page 1 due to the excessive number of grammatical spelling formatting error. So we give up after reviewing on page 1. It's a shame of the submitter. It's a shame of the professor. If I am the correspondent, I will feel very ashamed on that. And you need to save the fate of your mentor, of your professor. Don't do like this. Okay? What's wrong with this one? We talk on ethical. We can look on the year of publication. This one in 2008, 13, 2020. Everything looks the same. It's unethical, right? You use some other people and change the name and resubmit to the others. So right now you have the digital footprint. Everybody can search back and find out. This you will be banned by the scientific communities. And if you are a student, you will get expelled from the institution. If you are the researchers, you will be kicked off from the institute or the university. So be careful on that. And this is happening in Ajahn lab. What's wrong with this one? So most of the time when you come from your country, you bring your own result and your mentor, very exciting. Start writing up the manuscript, submit to the good journal. This one is on the tier 1 journal, what we call the C, or the Pseudocyte and Public Health. But Ajahn found out that this data has been published in Myanmar already. So along with that, Myanmar journal and tier 1 journal, the same data is plagiarism, right? So be sure that you do not use your previous data that we published and submit the answer. Luckily that we know we withdraw this paper by ourselves. Okay. And this one also, is something like before, right? Fabrication, the wrong data. So this one has been withdrawn as well from the publication. And this one also. So whenever you found out by yourself, by your co-author, it would be okay that you are sincere to yourself. and you write up the letter to the editor and withdraw that papers. And this one, see, top Harvard cancer researcher accused of study fraud or fabrication. So you will not be in this community anymore if someone found out by this. And this Nobel Prize, she submit and, get published. But she found out that she cannot repeat her study. So she write up the letter to the editor and withdraw her publication. So this is very important that you need to be sincere to yourself and to the communities, and do not do fabricate the data. And a few years, maybe last year, that really, notorious, thing, in the community of researchers that people buy authorship, right? So I believe that right now you don't have money for that. So we don't look on our students, but after you graduate and you work in some institute, so don't do this. It's not that good. Okay. And I think Ajahn Sanipa mentioned to you on the AI. You can use ChatGPT for that. But be careful that you need to do manual check. Sometimes the word and the meaning are different. The AI don't know much unless you use the right prompt to ask them, right? So you can do and use on that. So what's wrong with this one? Anybody can notice something wrong on this paper? Okay, Andy, you can see something wrong with this? Okay, they use AI and they forget to erase something out. It's very silly stuff, right? And very carelessly. So be careful when you use AI on that. And it's a shame of the correspondent. And if I were the mentor of this student, I will, put something on my face. So there are so many Ajahn Sanipa read for you on how to write the manuscript, right? So we believe that after this thing, you will have at least, the abstract and know exactly what's supposed to be the point of your manuscript and the point that you will discuss on the discussion part. And there are so many, paper. If you don't know exactly, you can listen online that Ajahn we prepare for you, or they have some paper. Sometimes today, when you submit the manuscript for them to read, they don't feel like that. So a lot of comment, after many, many revise, sometimes it come back the same, or maybe it looks so different. So it depends. So there are a joke, of being the student. You need to bear your mentor because each mentor are different. And the mentor need to bear with the student also because we have so many students, the variation. So we need to know exactly how to, encourage and support our students, to finish that goal. So what's your goal? Your goal is to complete your study. Your goal is to publish, right? So we want you to be the best. That's why we have the publication clinic. And Ajahn Nuvi mentioned that this publication clinic, he want me to, encourage you that you don't have to be only for the researchers, but you can be yourself and you can, earn some extra money by being the researchers. How come you can do that? If you be recognized by the communities, then the community will find you. You don't have to go to the communities. So for myself, first I work with PRS, but after that I extend my work to other by start to have some networking, right? So the thing that how can you be recognized? So there are so many. So I have the picture of the Vice President on Research Affair เนาะอาจารย์พรณรงค์ so this one can tell you on H index on your citation and if you have any citation that means you be recognized by the scientific communities but this one just for only for the academic thing not for the commercial how can you extend your work with the commercials anybody want to share on that Andy since you are my student how can you extend yourself to the other community like for the commercials to help them and get paid in return okay
we can offer them to so what we in the past or the research.
okay that means we sell ourselves sometimes it not be good to sell ourselves right
If we can be
okay
and a sponsor from the okay I can suit with my product to the field so we like me to try all this product.
That's a good way to do that. So, I got my PhD in 1998, and they have the IPVS in Australia in 2000. I went there with Dr. Sandeepa. At that time, we've been sponsored by the university. We don't have any support for the company. But over there, I have a talk over there for 5 talks. Only for me for 2, another 3 for my supervisor, but unfortunately she couldn't be there. So because of the family matter, so I repaid her in terms of being the speaker. So over there, I got some spotlight because her name is very well known by the community, but who the hell am I, giving a talk for her? But she couldn't be there, so I give a talk for her. So I been recognized by the company. And after I returned to Thailand, so they got the big conference like CUBC. But over there we call VIV, VIV for the agricultural, showcase. And someone, invite me to give a talk. Since then, I never pay my travel to give a talk to the others conference. So I've been sponsored all the time. And you need to look on your work that some of your work may interest the commercial company. Because if your work can answer something for them, then they will come to you. And you need to start, to do something like that. Something that I like to warn you, if you work with a company, you have to be neutral. If you favor this company A, but the result again with the company B, then you can be the one who fighting. So just be neutral and, totally, right through to your result and your talk. Do not take sides because something right is always right. If you take sides sometimes, if it become out wrong, then your reputation will be bad. Okay. So when you work, with the company, you get paid. And then, sometimes you start to get connection. And I think the best thing for that, you will get some money to start with your own project that you interest. But most of the company they just want for some answer. You can extend something out. So for example, that if we want to prove some vaccine to the company, we need to use the animal, right? We start to conduct animal work. So if you answer that for some question, then we need to kill everything and get only for one result. But whenever we have that kind of animal experiment, I will ask my co-worker, my colleague, like Ajahn Sandeepa, that whether she needs some blood to do some immuno work, something like that. Sometimes we start with one project and we get the result more than one. So then start to, extend, our collaboration, and sometimes when our work get published, then we start to have some other collaboration from the other country, something like that. So if you want to be recognized only for your academic stuff, they will wait by citation index, right? But if you want to be recognized as a speaker, you need to prove yourself that you know what you're doing, and then somebody will approach you and ask you to help them on that. And how can you keep them sustainable? Because Ajaran Nubi, put on the title that sustainable. How can you keep yourself on that? Anybody want to share? For me, I don't know that how can we keep on that path. You need to keep finding something new. If you stop, you learn nothing. How can you learn something new? You need to go to many conferences, because each conference they have something new and some new finding. And right now we have, in the online world, sometimes you learn before the conference start. So my experience for IPVS this year, they have in Germany. So I found out that this conference is something like not that interesting like in the past. So I start to have some discussion with my colleagues from other countries also. And the same thing that we come out because we learned something before the conference, right? Because right now it's online. You learn many things very fast. But in the conference, it's the thing that they've been published already. So it's not exciting us much. But for the student, the conference is very important. How come? Anybody know why we, set up the CUEC for our students and for other researchers in Thailand? How come we send our students to attend the conference abroad? Why? We have to pay a lot of money for them. Why do we have to do that? The key. So whenever you go to the conference, either for poster or oral session, if you give oral session, you get some question from the audience. And those questions sometimes are very good for you, right? To put in your manuscript. Or if you put on poster. So some of my students put a poster and somebody come in and ask them that if you done with this, don't forget to submit to their journal, because he is the editor. He wants this kind of work. So it's good for you to get yourself to expose. Sometimes they are the editors. Sometimes, who know, they can be your reviewers, right? So it makes your life much more easier. And sometimes if you know someone, sooner or later, you can be, their colleague in the future. Because sometimes they will ask you, if you get published already, your name is on the, online, that they can search, ask you to be the reviewer for this manuscript. And, as the young researcher, sometimes they will ask you to be in the editor. But carefully check that those are the good one or the bad one. What does it mean, good one or the bad one? Sometimes there are many publishers, that, ask for money, right? If you get on the good one, it's good on your profile. Then you become the reviewer in the good, journal. So it's still important for the student to attend the conference, because you will learn some new things. You will get some networking, and who knows, in the near future, you can be their collaboration. So I think sometimes when you work, you need to ask for some reward. And sooner or later, many of our staff, get award by the National Research Council of Thailand to be the good researcher, of the country, something like that. And I think some more will come from our faculties. And this is a conference in China, they asked me to become the speaker in China. So it's a little bit confusion because they take care of us very well over there. Because in a country, when they want to start to get some collaboration in this meeting, I meet many, key opinion leader from each country that they invite and share. So we start to, have some connection and some bond with them. And the thing for that, if you start to be recognized by one country, especially for China, then they keep asking you. So it is good that, not only for things, sometimes I get a letter from them that they want me to be there like for the whole year and pay me a lot for that. But sometimes it's your own choice that you can choose on what will you want to be at work. But for me, I don't want to be for the whole year, a week or 2 weeks would be enough because, you get yourself exposure with many people. If you like to be like that, I think it's a way to go for you also. And, some researcher want to write the textbook. But for me, I don't like this much. I just do only one and enough. For the academic promotion. But for this textbook, sometimes people learn about yourself and contact you on that also. And this one you can see that we held a meeting, in Thailand last year for the emerging and emerging disease in pig. And start to get some like recognition, and I get asked to be like the visiting professor for many schools, in the regional, like in Taiwan, in Malaysia. So being a researcher, if you don't want to go out, you can start to work for your lab and write up only for the paper and get on the citation index. Someone like to have very high number of H index, something like that. If you happy on that number increasing, it's good. But if you want to contribute your knowledge to the field, to the others, and sometimes, like Andy mentioned at first, that you can go to the company. Sometimes if you really want and they don't come to you, you can do aggressive approach, offering them that you have something like this. If you want to work with me, I can provide you with something like that. And they will provide you with some money and lead, for your startup, for your starting work. Because most of the time when you are the new staff, you don't have money. Because money will come by the grant from the university, grant from outside. Even though the university will give you the very small amount of money at the young staff, but sometimes the money from company is easy, and we can start to do the pilot study and get some result before you submit for the big project and get bigger money. So it's very important that you need to know yourself on what you exactly want. Because someone just want only to do some work in the lab and write up the papers, and someone so like me, in the past, I don't think I am a good speaker, but we learn every time you come up, on the stage. You learn by the audience on what they love. You learn by their question, and you learn how to get on the point that they really like. Because sometimes if you keep, talking, babbling, people will get bored, and people will, ignore on what you say. So remembering that whenever you want to give, a talk, deliver just only a few messages that are important. The other, just, something to accompany with. So if you develop many things in one lecture, then people will get lost on that. Okay. And how can you keep, to be recognized and be, wanted by the others? Because, when I came back, we start to write up grant for Thailand Research Fund because it's a good grant for the young researcher in the past. And then we start to accumulate our reputation. And then after that, I don't have to write up the grant. The grant will ask me that they have some kind of topic. Do you have time to work on that? So we have money first and we just start to write the proposal. But for yourself, you write the proposal to get money, right? If you establish yourself to be well known, to be recognized, then the money will come by and stop in your door. You don't have to go out and knock. So they knock your door and give you money. So I think I spend like half an hour as promised by Ajahn Novi. And I'm not sure that maybe Ajahn Sripa want to share something because she is well recognized by the community also. So you have anything to share with the student? The moderator, where are you? So we have to help ourselves นะอาจารย์สัญญาภา self sustainable กดข้างล่าง
Thank you. I actually agree with the overall I think one thing that help us to progress quickly is to find good ally and network, good friends go for a long way. And you have to select a good friend that is really good one. Not a good friend that like together we go to the movie, together we go to research, together we have a meeting. The other thing is that I think our student helps a lot. I mean, in this room we have young staff, we also have the grad student who's will probably will be faculty members in the future. I think when we do a research, it is of course during the first 5 years for us becoming faculty members or maybe undergraduate PhD, we probably want to do a research and establish ourselves for this before we start offering a position for the students. But I found that if you have very good students, you have a group of students, then the research seems to be more exciting and it's fun to do the research because you not only get the research question by yourself, but you also get research question of your students and then you help each other to solve the question, the problems, right? So sometimes we learn together. And I think we have to, I think the first thing that we need to accept is that we don't know everything. And when you graduate PhD, it doesn't mean that you are the expert, right? No, it takes time, at least 5-10 years to realize and understand the system of the research work and the system of the university and how you can handle your work, your life, and also your student at the same time. It takes time. So please take it easy. Don't be too stressful. Don't be too rushed. But at the same time, find a good friend and have a new group of friends that you can count on them. A lot of time we have. I have difficulties in research grant funding because I don't know can they need money as well. So the research, sometimes we share research grant and we help each other. So I think more than one is better than just doing everything alone. So make sure that you find friends and find a network. And of course, to be able to have such a productive network, you have to learn how to give and take. So you cannot just take only. You need to learn how to give as well and work professional. That's my addition to this.
And one point that I forget to mention that when I was in the US, so I like you here, you at Chulalongkorn, right? You have many friends, in BST and in other programs. But for me, over there, I was state. So I have many students from different departments. And, over there, every year they have the meeting like the UBC. Over there, we call Kerward in Chicago. So the students from all over the US, we have to go there and present their work. So I start to know a lot of people over there in my years. And, when we grow, they grow. So those of my friends become the editor, become the speaker, all over the US and all over the world. Then whenever they have the meeting, they ask me to be the speaker. So when I had the meeting in Thailand, I asked them to come back and become the speaker. This is a term of networking. And you are, at the VST student or you student here. So you can, start to form your bond and your network. Whenever you go back to your country, you will be the star over there. But you got your friend here, your friend from other country. You can ask them to help, to be a speaker, to do whatever work. It's networking. And up until now, it's very sustainable. So whichever meeting that relate to my work, I will be asked to be the speaker. And this is the last slide that I asked the ChatGPT to sum up and outline, on achieving success and recognition in static research. So, see, they're building a strong foundation of yourself. You need to be ethical person. And some people, go out and work as a postdoc to learn something more inside other network, right? And you need to conduct a high impact research. How can you get a good research question? You need to go right there in the field. You need to go to the conference and pick something new. And you got a good research question. How can you get money? You need to know the granting agency that match with you and start to have some collaboration. And then you need to publish in a good journal, high impact journal, or you go to the conference. Sometimes you get approached by the editor to submit your work to them. And after that, like Ajahn Sanepa mentioned, 5 years, 10 years later, you gaining recognition, you have higher citation, you get some honor, you get some award. It's going to be good on your profile, right? If you put your profile on research games, you will get contact a lot. So far, I get like we call like the headhunter want me to work for the company. Oh, no, I'm not retired yet, just wait. Something like that. And the career advancement, right? You can be mentor, or sometimes you become like the reviewer in the journal. Sometimes you are the gang, like the committee. Like last week, I went for the committee for quick win, research for the on something like that. And everything will not, have the pavement for roses. Sometimes you have to struggle. You will overcoming challenge, right? Dealing with rejection and setback. Everybody will face on that. Just be strong and have your target. Then you will be success on what you set up your goal with. And something that I didn't tell you yet, that you need to set up yourself, look at your branding, right? When people know what is your brand, they will go for you. But for me, in the past, I work with PRS, so people will brand me with birth. But after that, we had the outbreak of avian flu. So I start to work with avian flu and some emerging disease. So after that, I get, invitation and, asking to give a talk a lot on emerging disease. And for me, I'm the one who work for the survival virologies and pathology. I hardly go to the farm because I don't like to go to the pig farm because I have to shower at the pig farm. I don't like that. So whenever I go to the farm, I will pick up something that's important for my talk and see and ask people. Maybe because otherwise you have to visit the farm many times. So for me, like once a year is good for me. The remote vet, that's what we call. So I'm not sure that anybody has a question or want to share something. Ajahn, we have until how many? Or maybe Jasipa, you want to share with some others? Or that enough? Because I think this session that Janovi set up, he want you to look for the other thing, not just for the paper. But the paper will be your good starter. After you get your paper, one paper start to be cited by other more and more and more. Then you will gain your reputation and recognition in the field that you want to be. So Andy, you want to share something because no one wants to talk.
I your student, so I can feel that your networking is quite important during studying this because in the past when I have asked graduation, what I will be after my graduation, that time I still thinking that academic will be good for me. But after I passed master with academic environment, going for PhD, I can feel that even in academic industry, just be myself and try to have more opportunity to work with another people. And I still wonder that seeing Dr. B in Vietnam is my advisor before. Also, your student during this master in our food house. So, and until now, you and Dr. B in Vietnam still have the good connection on some HPU in the food industry, especially right now. Around the world for food population is going to be under space of public swine field. And it's a good connection to work and Thailand can use some model success to really control the asset opportunity now in China or in our country to apply Thailand if here we cannot under control. But another country, the one get our first going to be the election for the next country to be very good thing. Not only also the most important, the most proposed when we have the good community with another people around the world.
So Andy, I think that the thing that you share with us and the thing that Dr. Novi want it to be sustainable, in terms of being the good researchers. So being ethical and being rightful to yourself, because sometimes people can lure you with money, people can lure you with your reputation, but it is wrong then it will be done. But for us, we go on the right thing that we found out. We will not, being bought by the company, because you know that in the past we are very consistent of not using vaccine for birds, and we still give some alternative for the farmer and for the practitioner. And right now the same thing happened for the vaccine for African swine fever, and we still keep persistent on what we believe. If we just go by money or by whatsoever, it's not going to be hard right now, right? Okay, I think you want to share something because you will be go by money also.
It's maybe our problems today. So this is part of that all the researchers which
Can be reached. Yeah, because my motivation at first that since we are the government employee in the past, we have very little money for our salary. But I get inspired by Ajahn Vanpen, our mentor. She said that, we can be rich if we are the researcher. She said that at that time when I, like 30 years ago, my salary is 24,000 baht. But Ajahn Vanpen mentioned that, she get like 40,000 baht each month by doing research. And I believe her, so it's true. We can get like that. So it depends on yourself. So being a researcher, we will not have empty stomach. Our stomach will be full.
since all the research we got your own asset, your assets, your mind to learn. So every single product is released from this. Then you can get out of the system.
Then maybe we like to have some feedback or some sharing from the student. Otherwise, they can listening, they will get sleepy. So you can pick someone that you want them to share.
Is
What's the expectation here at your phone? Or
okay, I'm because from the first year student until maybe or 6 year student. So who is the first year student? I want to see and hear your expectation. Second year, first year identify yourself as second years. Can you share with us?
Thank you very much for your time, Ajay. So my name is Ida Usman Devi. I'm a master student in the Department of Surgery. So my first expectation for coming to Chulalongkorn University is I want to learn about the surgery mainly. So I know that the practical things in Tehran is more advanced than in Indonesia. That's why I come here to learn.
yeah, maybe in Indonesia you have some other more one than us. But anybody have their own thing. So good or bad, but for us, as a student, you need to learn as many as you can because you don't know the future that something that you have in the other lab, it will be benefit you in the future. I will tell Andy that he has his own lab that he wants to work on his thesis. But there are some other methods. If your friend have something like that, you can go and help. But for me, I work with virus only. But sometimes, my professor asked me to work with some bacteria. Do you have to do bacteria by myself? Sometimes, if I have to, I have to. But if I got a friend, I can, talk to my friend and ask them to help me on that. But if we don't know, what we, will be in the future, just learn as much as you can. Yeah, and I believe that in Indonesia you have something like learn that we have to learn from you, right? Okay.
Everything is your own opportunities.
Yeah. Keep your mind open.
Hello, my name is Jaquan Omsa. I'm from the Department of Genetic and Protein Production. So for the expectation for actually I'm studying for the PhD. The expectation is mine is no more in the detail in the soil reproduction. Actually, I love the pig, so that I express in this species. I would like to know more about the reproduction in the pig. So that's why I study.
Do you like to go to the big farm? I look at all the time alone.
Yeah.
Or you like taking a shower over there? Huh? Very smelly. Okay. I like to love that. Do what you love. It's good, right? Because every morning you get up, you have something looking forward to. If you still love that, right? It's good for yourself. Or you want to one or two more and then be done? So
Yeah, I want to hear from representative of Myanmar.
I'm a PhD student under the supervision of SLP. As a member student, when I come to the Thailand, I have a lot of impression about the Chulalongkorn University because there's there's a lot of facility to meet for the law. And here we need to get room law for the law. So I study in the Chulalongkorn University. So I think I have a lot of experience and I really from this experience. And as I this of my mother country. So I also went to share this knowledge and expected to improve uh, to our university and country. So I expected a lot for my students at the university. I really the knowledge from here.
So you will go back. Good. And some other time when we have our students from the neighboring country, sometimes I think it will be benefit them if they can do their own research over there like Salukon. When he had the Myanmar student, we work with the event through, they got some sample from there and let them start to analyze and it will be good for your own country. Thank you. Okay. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you very much, Akan Lord, for your presentation. So, we next is the panel discussion, which will be hosted, or Associate Professor Dr. Louis Pazarko will be the moderator for this panel discussion, and we'll have Professor Dr. Rundo Hanolube and Professor Dr. Sani Pass as the mentor team. So please give us around 2 minutes to set up the stage for the panel discussion, and we'll be.
May I also invite Professor Moloko come up here with us. You can share some of your experience with us. As the moderator, I can't order. Oh, this EP, detail, good there. with the file or. Yeah. I will be frustrated.
So without any further ado, please give a round of applause to Vincent Moore. Um, so as we begin, does anyone have any questions regarding any research articles and they're curious about? Or what this is? No? Anyone?
I think maybe you can ask them that what are the worries why being here, which part of something that is still interfering their mind. We discuss you guys be prepared.
I think the decision I could problem of mine. Like as I said, I write a lot of detail that I think is important, but I'm not sure. We have the good way or the trick to write the discussion.
Start with the results, start with like plotting your result and look at each of the diagram or figure. So the key result, then think about what would be the discussion point of this particular result. So maybe it's better to have like other result plots. And of course, you have different way of writing results, but it's up to you how you actually lead the readers in an attractive way. So usually if I write a paper with my student, usually we will set a meeting together. And I think this is the most efficient way. So you set a meeting with your boss or your advisor, and then just agree on maybe 3 to 4 points of discussion, and that's it. You don't have to discuss everything, but you just agree upon maybe a few points that you think that this is very important for discussion. Then take it from those results, interesting results from the figure or diagram table, and then discuss which way we are going to discuss this. I don't know what you feel, but in immunology, it can be like, it can go either way, right? There's no right and wrong in immunology. So you can go this like one way or another, which of course you should discuss with your boss in advance so that you and your boss think the same thing and then you do the work. Otherwise you have to write this way, that way, the other way, and then ask your boss to choose from which one is supposed to be the better, right? The best. But for me, you say about right? We set a meeting at front, and then we agree that okay, this figure, the result is this, we will discuss that. You, the student, you go and find reference, evidence to support this, and then we'll go by this way. And then once the first part of the result is finished, then you can go to the second part and the third part, and it's easier to actually overlay your manuscript in the more efficient way. Otherwise, you have to write. I don't know about the students. I guess some of the students write so many times, and it's actually for me it's a waste of time. You should write only once, right? You think before you write, then you write only once. But if you don't think about it before you write everything. Then you have to work so many times, and it is such a waste.
For the starter, that way of writing discussion, your conventional, right? If you don't have any mentor, you are on your own. Most of the time you have material method, resolve, discussion. If you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, by each section and form the resolve. So each section, which one is so significant, then you pick on that issue and discuss. So the conventional way is a bit boring, but it's good for the starter, right? But for like I mentioned that you can discuss with your board or your mentor first on what they want to convey in terms of what the point of the papers. And sometimes if you know the point of the papers, you don't have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. The result can be like that. But for the discussion, for the first paragraph, is the one that you can hit on the point. Because by the readers, when they read on the paper or whatsoever, they will focus on the first 2, 3 sentences of the paragraph. So that one is the finding that are very important and significant. And at the last paragraph, you will wrap up for the whole. But during in the middle, it will be the one that not that much important, but supporting on what you're finding. So the second way is the more advanced way that you need to know exactly what your research question and what you want your manuscript to focus on. That you need to talk with your supervisor. But for the conventional way, if you are on your own with no one, go conventional way is much safer that you cover every day.
One thing in that, if you agree that you are going to go, for example, go to on the left side, right? So you say right and left. You choose that I'm going to the left. Make sure you mention something about the right side as well, but in the lesser convincing way, or with a lot of flaw or something like that. And then you try to accentuate your idea that it's probably this way rather than the other way. But please don't just overlook or just kind of cut it out and not say anything at all, because sometimes a lot of reviewer look for the opposite side as well. But as long as you have good argument that the opposite side is not that convincing compared to yours, then they believe you, right? But you have to work out which way to go, right? And then if you select and you choose it, this is the best way to go, and it is most fit to my results, and it is most fit to whatever theories or the possibility that it should happen. Then people go this way. But again, don't forget the other way. Just mention a little bit. It is also possible that it could be go to the right side. However, looking at the experimental model, blah, 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 we still think that it should be the other way, right? So we try to at least tell the readers that we think about all the possibility. But I think this possibility is probably the best way to go, right? So don't just cut it out, don't mention anything. Otherwise, the reviewer will understand. Have you thought well enough? You thought everything all around completely before you choose your answer, right? So this way is something to just have a reflection, a sentence stuff. We already consider this, but it's probably not the way because of this and that, whatever reference. See, then go to the one that you want to mention.
Yeah, I use the rights of reference as wise. Yeah, getting to the concrete samples. these samples, for example, to try to make a correlations with bacteria or the system, right? That is your hypothesis. So just ask yourself, let us the results answer all of your hypotheses. What is the patients about how will you find this result? And then pick up that one. Go follows all the instructions as I said. And one thing I want to emphasize is we do not have to be aggressive in discussion. Just write the answer in the opposite. Because scientists is a human. They have right left. And one thing is if you can compromise and give very good samples or try to convince. Because in the discussion part is mixed part true facts and opinion. No, nothing true, nothing totally wrong or right. But it's opinion mixed between all the things. And I don't think as a reviewer, I don't think okay, this in the discussion is this first. But the first thing I believe the reviewer will decide from experimental design and results. And then just maybe just not that serious and don't go too much for that. So we have only 4 or 5 plug and 1 plug is 190. Just extra the daylight value.
Just to add a little bit, is that this is one of the most common mistakes we've seen for the grad students discussion, or even the young staff discussion, is that you tend to repeat the result. And so I think every time you finish your discussions, reread those sentences and ask yourself, is this a result or a discussion? Because I've seen 50% of the sentences in those discussions of the newcomer mostly are like 30% introduction and 70% result, no discussion. So that is something that you need to ask yourself, if this is a result or is this a discussion? I know it's difficult for young one that how do I discuss this, but I'm sure you will be able to do it. But you have to kind of separate those 3 results, keep them over there. I'm not going to repeat them. I'm just going to use some of the information and leads to the discussion. Then what am I going to discuss, right? So go and check your discussion, your draft discussion, and I'm sure there will be a lot related to introduction risk, right? The other one is that try to be careful not to add more the brackets say like personal observation, right? Try to avoid those personal observation, manuscript preparation, or in my own experience. Those wording are like for the review, I will take. Like personal observation, I don't read it. Because it's not published, it's not peer review. For me, it's just waste of space. We'll try to keep things like not overplay or not speculating, but this is what things.
Thank you very much. So does anybody else have any concerns or things that they're, it's like heavyweight in their heart about process?
For students, could you please elaborate or explain what are the best practices or approaches for linking or comparing our results or our practice with the previous result or publications in the discussion part? What are the best strategies or practices for linking or comparing our result with the previous result?
So for me, comparison is one of the easiest one. Compare. They report that, and we've got this new one, and the same one, are they the same, consistent with previous finding, or it's totally opposite, or it's not exactly the same? And if it's not, then you got a point of discussion now, right? It's not the same. Why? Right? And what's the problem? Again, don't trash the previous publication. You never know. Maybe those publisher is the reviewer in your paper, right? Because for me, if I'm the editor, reviewer, right? And then you run into a problem. So when you discuss the differences, then try to come up with creating these reasons, not just saying that he did it wrong and I did it. Mine is right. They were wrong. I used to have that experience once. I figured that. We characterize the new cells in peat, then regulatory T cells. And we had the experience that we show the way how to isolate these cells, how to immunofluorescently stain the cells using flow cytometry. And everything we did in Thailand, we don't have Westerner or foreigners collaborators. So all the people who do this work in Thailand, we did that completely in Thailand. And then one day we published that paper, and it was cited by several researchers. Because this is considered one of the hallmark or the key paper for if you want to study the cells, you need to follow this paper. This is the first paper publishing of it. And then 2 years later on, there was a laboratories in Europe, and of course, Western world. So they published paper and they said, no, we did not see these cells in the infected pig. And it's okay, right? You don't see it, that's fine, then you discuss, right? So why did you see that? The reason that they discuss is that the lab in Thailand is, well, I can't remember the word exactly, but what I interpret is that the lab in Thailand is fake, not good. This is probably not a good lab. And the technique is probably not validated. And it was really rude, right? And in this way, unfortunately, it's our lab being criticized. But of course, this is a very bad feeling. And someone who tried, as an interview, that when you write your lecture method, you want people to follow and be able to repeat your experiment. So they repeated, but they couldn't get it. Right? And then they said, well, why the reason why we didn't get it, instead of asking finding some other reason, they would just say one sentence. The lab in Thailand used the unvalidated technique. So whatever we published, it's not true. For them, in their opinions, it's all false. But this is really, what do you think it is yourself? But we feel very bad. We feel like, how could they just say that this is so rude? They should ask, like, or at least they should try to come up with some creative excuse, right? For example, different peaks, different antibodies, or different calming oats. There are lots of things that they can say. And they say, oh, we couldn't make it. We tried everything, and we couldn't isolate these cells. Therefore, the one isolated this cell before is fake. And this is really rude and very, very bad. So I wrote the letter to the edit, and I said, I'm very disappointed that your journal allow this type of bullying. Because they say the lab in Bangkok, the lab in Thailand, what does it mean? So what does it mean if I'm in Thailand, I must be fake? So it is more like double bully, right? So not only my lab is not good, in Thailand is not. So I was very curious, and so I sent a letter to the editors. This is not acceptable, and we are very disappointed that your journal is actually allowed this type of wordings. You should be careful of this. And later on, so I was very mad. So I talked to my PhD student. I said, stop every lab that you are doing. We are going to publish another paper. We are going to repeat whatever we've done before in a better way, and better techniques, and we're going to publish that. And go and find the 6th-year student or the 4th-year student who is actually looking for a senior project. Ask them if they want to work with us, and then have them work on this project. When I publish this paper, I'll use those students as person. I will tell them that even our DBM student can do these experiments, and we repeat once again that this is true phenomenon. We can repeat it, and even my student can work on this without using any renowned scientists in Europe, right? So we publish that again in the next few years. Of course, the person who wrote the first paper who is supporting us probably didn't read, won't read this. I don't know whether they read it or not, but it just for the sake of mine. It's just my revenge, right? But I can't do anything more than that. Just try to defend it and say this is not good. But again, this is a feeling that I don't want to or anyone to falsely have this feeling to anyone. It's really rude and really discouraging for working in a scientific field, and you have someone saying something like this in lectures, like in papers, that's evidence throughout the rest of, I don't know, PubMed. So, and of course, these papers are high quality papers. And I don't want people to say that Thailand. So we might, that's my reason why we always keep our standard as high as possible, because we don't want people to just fight and say, well, you're just a sheep lab in Asia. And we don't want that, right? Because we know that our quality laboratories research is much better. We have a good researcher, and we should show them. So when you have the result right and publish, right, make sure that you have good experiment, good data, and then publish. And don't say bad word to anyone. That's just a bad experience. So it's kind of counter of one that we can. It's wonderful. And of course, rejection is always normal for us as well. So not that we get exit all the time, but rejected as well. So don't worry. If you're gonna get rejected or your boss gonna say that go write it again, the whole thing. It's normal.
So the question is about when you get the result and how can you compare with the previous work, right? You need to know yourself first that what your research question, and when you get the result, it support your hypothesis or not. If it support, then you have many line of supporting document, right? In order to write that this is good because as you expect, but if it's not, then you have to find out and find any possible way by the other support, document on that website, so they have something like this. But the same thing that Sanjipan mentioned, don't use the bad word or something like the bullying. So I got the same thing with you a few years ago. We work with the animal, and we have the review article on the acclimatization of the animal before the animal get into the herd. But and we refer the paper that in order to have the animal ready, we have many methods. And one paper we from European country, they use vaccination, and we just cite them on that. And the funny thing, after this one has been published, those people write to the editor say that they never done something like that, like we just cite them in the wrong way. They say that the way that they do vaccination, they never done with the cow sow to give some the endemic pathogen, like for the reproductive people, right? You use cow sow in order to provide some endemic pathogen to the animal, and they say that they not mentioned in their papers, and they want this paper to remove or revise on what I mentioned on that. So I just write to the editor that this is the way that there are many approach that we can be done in terms of raising some immunity to animal by vaccination, but there are some pathogens that they don't have vaccination, they don't have vaccine available. That's why we need to do this way. And I need those person to review more on what we done in the world. And good. Be fine. We don't have to do anything, but those people they like, the whole charter and they need to not revise for them, they be kicked out.
So there's a lot of fun stuff happen during your research life, and there is you like that make you smile, make you very angry, and make you very sad. But of course, I mean, it's life, and then you have to pass through all this and thing, but it's fun. At the end, I mean, don't take it so serious. I mean, things happen and it pass, and you just go on.
Thank you very much, Hans.
I think the person in the middle one can answer.
Thank you for listening. For my guest, and I'd like to ask, how can we searching for novelty or the innovation or the new thing in our research, in my experiment, even though we can answer hypotheses, but we cannot find out new or novel. How can we write our script? Thank you.
We ask is better your results give novelty, right? Or impact. We have to do much more iteration.
No, I think the you are for novelty, but if you want to look for some answer, that means that you are the second, you are not the first, right? So you need to gather your knowledge and see that how can you do something with some supporting evidence that you will succeed on that. That means that you need to set up your hypothesis on this one, that this will be working if you do this way. Because if you want to set up the novelty by citing some other, that means you're working on novelty, somebody already done that. You just use them as a reference. But you need to use your knowledge and some other and prove that whether this one is working, this one will be the novelty that you will find out. Right? So that means you need to extend your knowledge. Not only the method of doing, you need to see that you will have some other method that can do something more or better or can answer what your question is. So before you have the novelty, you need to set up what your research question is.
I think I agree with the setting up a research question is one of the key, but how do you come up with the research question that it's going to give you novelty? I think one of the ideas is that try to expand your perspective. Don't only just go to the seminar in your department, go to other department seminar, go to other talk. I know that during the COVID, these kind of special talk or lectures are getting like less and less, but now it's coming back. There are a lot of good lecture, even not in our university, but maybe online or something. I remember one thing that sometimes people ask, like, how can I seems to be someone who thinks outside the picture, or I tend to actually think in a different way that other people tend to do. And someone asks, like, why do you think like this? And I don't know, because it's probably, but it's not that because I was born like this. But one thing that I realized when I did my PhD, I was sent to Canada, and the institute that I was doing a PhD, they were actually doing research work in veterinary microbiology and immunology. So they have different group of research. So they have bacteriology, they have biochemistry, immunology, virology, antigen delivering system. So they have different groups of these people, and every week they have seminars. Each group, every month or weekly, they will have seminar. And it was for me at that point, the grad students a request to attend all of those meetings, to attend all of those seminars. So I was not just listening to the immunology seminar, but I also had to attend every other group seminars. And I think that was the starting point of how we can actually come up with something more creative. Because we learn something outside our field. And we know that what other people use, what technique to solve that problem. And how they come up with these techniques or these ideas. And I think that is very important to actually expand your perspective and try to get information not only in your field, but in the relevant field, right? And that will actually bring a lot of ideas. And when I can come back, I was very lucky. I was assigned to work as one of the committee members in the multidisciplinary program in microbiology. So that is actually the graduate program that offered that's conducted by several departments of microbiology across the university. So there were dentistry, medicine, veterinary, pharmacology, and the faculty of science. They all have department of microbiology. So all the staff in those departments actually help running this specific multidisciplinary program. And it's a graduate program, mainly run through the faculty of medicine. I learned a lot then. I went to the student center, just master student seminars on progress of their work, but because the student will work under the faculty of medicine or faculty of dentistry or science, they have so many techniques, they have so many ways and information that when you go to the seminars, even though I'm the faculty members, every time I go to the seminar, I learn. And I always come back and talk to my students, you should do this, you should try that. It's a technique that people at faculty of science are working on this way. Maybe we should do this for our work or to answer our research question. We will see in the middle. So I think one of the things that can help you in terms of how to be novel is that you need to expand your perspective towards another thing. Don't just learn only whatever in your mind. And a lot of students said, oh, I don't have time. That's even just to work in my life, I don't have time. But I was a grad student before, I also have my own project. I still manage that. We need to actually find some time to actually attend those. For me, when I was a student, there was free donut and drinks, and that's why I go. But it seems like those donuts pay a lot. not only delicious thing that I go, I get something as well. So I would encourage you to read, learn, and listen. Go to the talk. Those well-known scientists, particularly the faculty of medicine, they always have a very good seminar, and I encourage you to listen to them. Even though it's in human, even though it's in dentistry, just following oral cavity, but a lot of things can be applied to our work, and it's fun to think about that. Even though you go there and you think, oh, this is very interesting, but our lab, at our faculty, we don't have this machine or equipment, right? But as now, because it's all in July, we can actually connect to the faculty members, and maybe we can expand our work in a more sophisticated. And in our lab, I mean, we usually, but there are different ways of doing research. You can have one research question, and then you dig down with all those techniques and everything that you're going to solve this one question. Or you can have like one technique, and you just search for example, we have one PCR machine, I will find pathogen A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? And that's one way of doing research horizontally, right? But that doesn't make you go anywhere, right? It's just one technique. But if you have one hypothesis, you use all the techniques, and that hypothesis is actually driving you that you have to think more sophisticatedly through how to use the new techniques to answer your question. That is, for me, is in immunology stuff. It's fun to do that because we have fun research question and how can we actually solve this question and then using all these interesting techniques, and doesn't really have to limit to our faculty. It can be the techniques used anywhere in this university or even anywhere used in this world. So we have connections. We have nowadays it's very easy to have connections with scientists all over the world. if the question is good, if the research question is good, a lot of people will vote you, I'm sure, right? But it depends how you think about this research question and how you conduct this.
Thank you very much for that. Does anyone have any final questions for our panel today? Final question. And no one has anything, can I ask a question? So, you mentioned about expanding our knowledge, right, in terms of seminars, etc. So I would like to ask in terms of using AI and help with expanding the knowledge and preventing paper, to what extent are you able to use AI in the writing the manuscripts? And in which way do they help to make the manuscripts for
So I even myself, I have to accept that, I have to admit that I'm the learner as well, but I start using it. I think for me, using AI as the assistant to perfect our writing is and even the ideas for giving a talk. Sometimes we already have the idea, in our mind. I already know what I want to speak about. But sometimes just to check, just checking that if I miss any key important point, using AI will help because they will suggest it. For example, hey, I'm going to give a presentation to this grad students group and what should I say about writing paper? Then there was this coming down, right? And then I would pick and choose from them. But I would strongly encourage not to just solely rely on AI. Use them wisely. Okay, we have to use them wisely. And of course, sometimes AI doesn't really answer me. Sometimes the guts is the word guts. What is it in Thailand? Some gut feeling in Thailand is something gut feeling. Oh, or something. AI doesn't have that. Sometimes whether should we go this way or is better this way or something like that. It's something that is analyzed within the brain with enough information we can analyze. And someone, for us, if you ask the experienced researcher, young researcher in the same question, they will answer differently because the experienced researcher has some more gut feelings. Well, to be this way, right? And usually most of the time it is correct. But I wouldn't say always correct, most of the times. So for me, is that you know how to use them, and then you use them as one of the assistant or tool. It is okay. But I don't recommend just asking AI to write your paper because that is not. Well, of course, it can be, but it's again because your work or your manuscript is based from your experiments, which there are always some imperfect of the experiment. There are always kind of pitfalls, and there's always some kind of additional point that you have to consider that the AI might not know. So using the AI to write the introduction is thing for me, I don't encourage because we already write our proposal, we know what is the research question already. But if you want to use the AI to perfect your grammar, or perfecting your English, or to make sure that paraphrasing everything and to reduce plagiarization, then that is okay. But for me, using or replacing your brain with AI is something that please don't do that. Because if you don't use your own brain, then in the future, the AI will take over everything. Right? You just can't think about anything, competing. And of course, the research capability or age, how would you win over other researchers if they also use the AI? How would you win over other people? If everyone uses exactly the same AI, then you get the same result. But if you use your own brain, your own instinct, then that is something that you will get through, right? So it's kind of more challenging and it's fun to find or to actually do all this research.
Thank you very much, Han.
I have to confess here that I don't want to use AI. Okay. Yeah, AI, their functions just provide certification to us. So firstly, if you want to use AI, just realize that AI, like they're producing some plastic surgery for you. So we try to convey some this brand, blah blah blah, to say a lot, the same thing. What about human beings? Then if you try to use that first, so you need to convert to be human writing. Because some journals, they got some applications to observe how many of similarity of human writing. Then some articles show 0%. What does it mean? It's zero human writing. So just be careful. So this is the trick. If you want to use AI for writing discussion, so you know your own discussion, right? You know your point of hypothesis. Then just talk to AI friendly. So who are you? What your destiny? And what's the point? So once you talk with AI, the AI know your intention, then you upload your result and writing down some of your result with your hypothesis. And then I think AI can initiate the point, maybe some other point, and that's very helpful. Then stop using AI and use yourself to extract and digest and find some other work. Go together, still be the line of your discussion. Yeah, that's very wonderful and very short time. So previously I used for discussion at least 1 week, but right now it's to write discussion maybe just 1 day or a few days.
So then what difference between a free version and the paid version?
Money. Yeah, you need to pay monthly $20. But of course, the functions from the like premium package, yeah, you can upload, and it's unlimited version, and they can create your like a picture, your own copyrights, and I guess the dimensions of the analysis is very deep. And they can go to many sorts of the data. And of course, don't have to be worried about the interest, because they will create, so just don't worry. But all the content still be like passive surgery.
It's good investment.
Very good. Right? For me, that's very good. And can create some of the content.
So the speaker of that we can do Dr. If
If you need help me, get like that. I can help you here if you need some help with using my account AI.
Thank you for sharing class. I have one question about the use AI for us to improve our English when we learn the paper. One of my friends told me that we need to always declare that we use ChatGPT or other AI to write our manuscript or the communication journal. Is need or no need?
Yeah, even the DBI also recommend not to use AI as in the part of the suite. But who cares? I still use it because I'm mix between AI and but not totally is AI. That's why I still believe in science. And that science is not from machine, but it's from the brain. You need to extract yourself. But of course, writing used like for English collection There are some other applications to collect. Not, I'm not going to use ChatGPT for collecting information. It's not that good for me. I use Grammarly or Quillbot. But of course, it's expensive.
So you are the preferred.
Copilot is also good. I use Copilot. I think it's more for writing or helping perfecting proofreading the English. I think Copilot is quite good and free. Although yeah, you have limited how many questions that you can ask them per session or something like that, but still usable, I think. Because I don't really use it deeply like a lot more extensive, like maybe sometimes just to kind of giving a quick thought or a quick proofread or editing some short message that is bigger. But use it to write. Please discuss this paper, then I never use that. Because I think that I still believe in the power of our brain rather than the machine. Machine can help us perfecting things, but they cannot reach. I believe that our brain is better initiation and creativity.
Thank you very much, Hannah. So, I would like to wrap up our panel discussion for today, and please give a round of applause to our three professors here today. Thank you very much. So, for our next program, we will be having, the grad students and advisors drafting manuscripts, for the introduction and the methods. So you can, feel free to take seats around here and write your manuscript. And during that, you can also grab a break outside or snack bar over there. If you have any questions about drafting your manuscript, feel free to ask any mentors in the room. And we will be back around at 5 p.m. Thank you.